Welcome back to Forza Horizon 5. This is the FH5 Update 39, the Back to the 90s update. In today's video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about this new update, like the new cars, the Horizon Backstage is back, except this time it's a little bit different. We've got some smaller stuff coming to the game in this month's update, and as per usual, we also have a sneak peek of what's coming next month. Real quick, before we jump into the new update, in case you missed it, last month, my Toyota GR86, my real-life race car, was involved in a small crash. Over the past couple of days, I've actually been chalking the bumper up into a bunch of little parts and giving them away to you guys. If you want a piece of the bumper, all you have to do is head over to the AR12 store and order some clothing like this new black edition of the Skill Issue hoodie. You can order any t-shirt, any hoodie, any hat. You'll get a small piece of the bumper thrown in completely for free. Just as a small thing. The merch ships worldwide, so if you want to collect part of the car, you can do it. There's a link down below. Thanks so much for all the support. Let's jump into the 90s update. Let's jump into the festival playlist, though. We have 4 cars that we need to talk about in here. One car is going to come out every single week in the festival playlist. All you have to do is go and get 20 points. It seems to be the new trend for Forza. I don't know if this will continue into the future, but it's the same as it has been for the past couple of months now. Anyways, during week number 1, you can unlock this thing by getting 20 points. The 1997 Toyota Soar GTT. It's the 3rd generation Toyota Soar, and if you ask me personally, this is without a doubt the best generation of Soar out there. In the JDM scene, these things have just been getting more and more popular, and the values of them have been going through the roof recently. This one in particular has a 2.5-liter 1JZ engine that puts out 280 horsepower. You guys remember last month with the Toyota Chaser, how that also had 280 horsepower? A lot of the Japanese car companies say their cars have 280 horsepower, but it's actually a lie. They have a lot more than that. This thing's probably got 320 horsepower or so. The only not so great thing about the Toyota Soar is at the same time when Toyota was making it, Lexus was actually making another version of it called the Lexus SC. Essentially, they were pretty much the same car, just with a Lexus badge on it. Anyways, when Toyota killed the Toyota Soarer off, Lexus didn't kill off the Lexus SC, and they made one more generation, and I think it will go down in history as one of the ugliest cars ever made. Not many cars make me feel physically ill when I look at them, but the final generation of the Lexus SC is one of those cars. I'd like to apologize if you're eating lunch and watching this video. I'm sorry I ruined your meal. Anyways, back to the good news though. The developers have actually already confirmed that this car actually has some body mods for it, specifically body parts from Origin Lab. I'm very excited for this car to come out. I'm looking forward to driving it, and more importantly, drifting. If we move on to week number 2, you can unlock this thing, the 1989... No. If we move on to week number 2, we can unlock this thing, the 1998 Mitsubishi FTO GP version R. It's a bit of a mouth. Hardcore Forza fans might actually remember this thing from Forza Motorsport 4 back in the day. It is an awesome car. Let me rattle off some stats. It's got a 2-liter naturally aspirated V6 that puts out 200 horsepower, 150 foot-pounds of torque. It weighs only 2,500 pounds, and it's front-wheel drive. I don't know if it's just me, but I'm always a big fan of when we get new front-wheel drive cars in this game. Like, a lot of the cars in Forza Horizon, probably for good reason, are rear-wheel drive 2-door cars. It's always nice to see some variety in there, get front-wheel drive cars, 4-door cars, and things like that. If you don't know the story of the Mitsubishi FTO, let me give you a quick rundown. It was a really popular car in the 1990s, right up until the year 2000, where Japan started to implement side impact safety tests into like their safety system regimen thing. And as it turns out, the Mitsubishi FTO never took part in those safety tests, because I have a feeling Mitsubishi looked at it and went, yeah, we're gonna fail those tests, and they're not selling particularly well. Let's just stop selling this car altogether. It's a bit of a disappointment if you ask me. There are some other really interesting things that are going on with this car. I'll tell you about those when this car actually comes out. All you need to know though is this also has some interesting body mods from Boz Speed. Boz Speed. I don't know why I said it like that. Sorry. Anyways, if we move on to week number 3, we get without a doubt the most interesting car in this month's update. This is the 1990 Aston Martin Lagonda. I purposely haven't put a picture up of it here because you're imagining an Aston Martin right now. You're thinking, hey, it's silver, it's 2-door, it's quite sleek looking. Wrong. This is what the Aston Martin Lagonda looks like. It is a full-size luxury 4-door saloon car made by Aston Martin. Also, side note, it's not really from the 1990s. Aston Martin started making this thing in 1976 and ran it all the way up until 1990, where they stopped. Only 645 of these things were ever made, so they are super, super rare. They're actually very interesting. They've got a 5.3-liter V8, and if you opted for the manual, you got a 5-speed manual, but if you opted for the auto, which I would assume most people did because it was like a luxury car at the end of the day, you had a 3-speed gearbox. The Aston Martin Lagonda, though, honestly, is a very, very interesting car with some incredible history behind it. The whole Lagonda name is very interesting in itself. Anyways, I will explain all of that stuff when this car comes out during week number 3. And last but not least, if we move on to week number 4, we get a returning classic. This is the 1996 Subaru SVX. Again, you might remember this thing from some previous sports games, famously in Forza Horizon 3 and in Forza Motorsport 6 and 7. It's another one of those cars from the 1990s that is a little bit strange. Let me explain. It's got a 3.3-liter naturally aspirated flat six, because it's a Subaru at the end of the day. It's got 230 horsepower. It's all-wheel drive. It has a 4-speed gearbox, and it weighs 3,500 pounds. How have they made such a small car so heavy? That's not even the weirdest part about this car, because if you walked into a Subaru dealership in the 1990s and like picked up the brochure for one of these things, it said basically this. It said, Subaru's offering buyers the chance of owning a concept car. Long story short, Subaru, when designing this thing, were trying to make it look as futuristic as possible. They've got like this glass wraparound canopy, this really interesting styling all around, and they basically dubbed it the purchasable concept car. I don't know if it's just me, but does anybody else think this car aged incredibly poorly? It's not that it's even a bad-looking car, it's just a bit strange. Hear me out. You know when you walk into a house from like the 1960s or 70s that was trying to be like futuristic back in the day, and they incorporated like all of this strange architecture and furnishing and design into the actual house? That's kind of what this car is like. And when you look at it, you just go, that's not aged as well as you thought it would, did you? Unfortunately, there's no fancy body kits for this thing, but with the right Forza Horizon 5 customization in terms of the engine swaps and a lot of weight reduction, it might end up being a really fun car, so we'll have to wait for week number 4 to unlock the Subaru. Anyways, those are all 4 cars that are coming to Forza Horizon 5 this month, but that is not everything. We need to talk about the Backstage Pass, because yes, it's back. Quick rundown of the Backstage Pass for people who don't know what the Backstage Pass is. Essentially, it's a way for you to unlock and obtain cars from previous festival playlists that are no longer obtainable. So let me explain how it works. Every single week, you can buy a single Backstage Pass from the Forzathon shop for 1,000 Forzathon points. You can also earn a second Backstage Pass from the festival playlist by getting 40 points during each week. You can then take those Backstage Passes to the backstage and spend those and get special cars. Right when this update comes out on October 10th, these 6 cars are going to be in the Backstage Pass. They're actually pretty cool. The M4 Comp is awesome. The Limo, awesome. The Rivian, awesome. As time goes on, though, more and more cars are going to be getting added to the backstage. Every single week, 2 new cars are going to be getting added, and you can actually choose which one. We, as the community, get to vote on what cars we want to see come to the Backstage Pass. Every week, the developers will give us 2 teams that we can vote on, and which team wins, those cars get added to the Backstage Pass. Each team has 2 cars in it. So let's just say it works like this. Imagine, for this example, all of these cars that I'm mentioning are like exclusive cars. Team number 1 has a Ford GT and a Mercedes E-Class. Team number 2 has a Rivian and a Porsche 911. We, as the community, go and vote for which team we want. Say Team 1 wins with the Ford GT and the Mercedes E-Class. Both of those cars then get added to the Backstage Pass, and you can go and spend your Backstage Passes on them the following week and get those cars added into your garage. The cars that don't win the vote go back into the pool of cars that are not released just yet, and we can vote on them in an upcoming week and try to get them added to the Backstage Pass. The developers have shared some interesting news, though, for how the Backstage Passes work and how you can actually make some money from them. So, number one, you can only spend one Backstage pass to get one car. So again, say the Ford GT is an exclusive car. If you have 3 Backstage passes, you can only use one of them to get a Ford GT. You can't get duplicates of the car. However, any cars you do unlock via the Backstage pass, you can actually go and gift to people in barn finds, or you can put them up for sale on the auction house. And because they're such rare cars, you could probably get quite a bit of money for them. I'm very excited to see how the Backstage Pass actually works when this update comes out on October 10th, but it's nice to see it back after we leaked it last month. Sorry about that, developers. That's not all for Forza Horizon 5. We've also got some smaller things we need to talk about at the end of the day. This is the Back to the 90s update. So the developers decided to add some pretty funky stuff into the game, like this, a 1990s outfit, an event lab prop, an inflatable VHS, which just looks really, really cool. There's also 3 new badges coming to FH5 that you can put next to your name, including this cool old school S that we all drew in school. Do people still draw these in school, by the way? And we also have 10 new achievements coming to Forza Horizon 5. Here's the full list of them. If you've already played Hide and Seek, you're probably going to unlock a lot of these when they come out on October 10th. Last but not least, we have a sneak peek of what's coming next month. And next month's update is called the Horizon Track Day. And you know what? I'm feeling brave and confident today, so I'm going to make a prediction. McMurdy Sperling? I don't know. It sounds pretty cool. We'll have to see. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to pick up part of the bumper. There's a link down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye now. Have a great day.